it. So he's like thinking of a way out of it, and then he's like, "No, I'll go get it."
You got to check out this guy, Mattimo. Yeah, Mattimo's Arcade.
I don't know enough about his methods. I would love to talk to him one day.
Hopefully that's a little better. Okay, so what I did was I cleared that trace down, and then I went ahead and tacked some solder onto this leg here. Now it's not going to be very stable because it's just kind of floating there. But this other leg over here, it runs on this trace with all three of those pins right there. So all we got to do is get it real good and solid right there, and the other side should hold fairly well. And we don't need to overkill it with a ton of solder, but just enough to hold it on there good and steady. And that'll we could also maybe like throw some hot glue or something on the other side if we need to. And that should get us there. Just put a little bit more. I'd like it to be a little bit sturdier, but can't do a whole lot when there's no solder pad. So really that was the toughest part of what we had left. Well, we're not sure. We haven't tried to power it up yet. But I don't know if you can see. I'm kind of cramped in this corner for light. Sorry about all the jiggliness. So we had another spot that was over in here, and when I was looking at it, the two that I was worried that they were touching, they were on the same trace anyway, so it didn't matter. And there's that spot where that splooge was, I want to come through and clean up. But next one I'm going to do off camera is I'm just going to go through with a fine tip solder point and just make sure all of these are really good, nothing's touching, and it'll be so much faster if I just do it off camera and run through there. But like I said, if you're looking for advice on what to do on this, just get a really fine tip point on for one of your tips, and then go through and just touch everyone up. Because if you touch the leg and the solder pad at the same time, instead of having a big mass of solder, it will all kind of go where it's supposed to go and suck into a smaller shape, and it'll actually drain through the hole and solder it all the way through the board that way too. But I'm going to go ahead and clean up those other 2 or 3 spots, and then make sure everything looks good, and then we'll go ahead and throw it on the tube, and we'll test it, and hopefully everything is fine and we don't have to come back over it. But that's why I'm going to make sure nothing's bridged now. We don't short anything and hurt any parts. I'll be right back. What's up, gang? This is going to be part 2 of the Wells Gardner K7500 rebuild that I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and show you this picture. We're going to start with the worst part of this one, and it's basically the most common thing, and it's going to be lifted traces and solder pads. So let's take a look at that, and you can see where it's kind of black and charred. And then let me get a little second here to get us zoomed in, and you can see the difference. Or I will put the side by side up while I'm doing this. It's taking me a little bit longer than I thought. Thought I could get a little closer than that too. Okay. So now we can see a little bit of what it looks like currently. And so I've gotten rid of all of the black goo, and it's between a combination of the glue that was underneath here and flux from the solder. But it looks much better now. We can actually see what we're looking at. We have 2, if you see right here, the trace is actually right there, still hanging off. And then we have these 2 holes. Those are on the same trace. And they're going to be separated from, I do believe, yeah, these 2 here are separate from anything else other than this one right here. Which this trace, I need to make sure. I think this trace goes underneath this last pin. So, no, they're on that. They're on there. No, they're not. I lied. It's hard to tell. Okay, the middle one comes there. The outside one there. So I think these 2 here come on this little line. We'll have to move it back down here. but we don't want to bridge that. So I'll have to do that off camera and get real close. But we're going to solder this back in over these two holes so that it comes back and we'll have continuity with either this guy here, that guy. I'll have to look and make sure which one it is. But we'll check and make sure that it's all right. And then the other leg is going to come through here, which I can kind of show you what that's going to look like. We have a couple different options of how we can fix this, because there is, bring it up a little bit closer. Where are we at? There we are. There is no pad left at all. Okay, so now I can see there that it doesn't look like it touches any of those. And it kind of looks like it goes. Okay, so it touches, where are we at here? Well, it comes around and touches that one my thumb's on. So we know where to attach it to if we can't get this to work. But one way we can do this is we can use copper tape and then just make ourselves a new trace and put it in there and cut little eyelets out. I'm going to assume that you guys don't have that stuff, so I'm just going to work with just what I think most people would have. So I'm just going to stick let me tip this up for a second. Okay, put this in the right way. All right. So the easiest way to do this, once we have our legs through here, that's how close we can get. Okay, so we have our legs coming through. What we can do is just bend this leg over to the next pin. Same here, we can bend it over to the next pin and use it as our jumper wire. And that's probably going to be the easiest thing to do. Let me see if I can get it a little bit closer. This is the ugly version of it. But there's nothing on this other pin over here. Both of these are just for this cap, so it's just probably just positioning. So what we're going to do is, this one, since we have that trace, we can just run this trace over here. And this one over here, see where does he go actually? I think he goes to this line of 3. Yeah, it goes to this line of 3. So we'll put it there and then trim it off, and then it'll be good. We'll make sure that it's in there right. And that'll be two different ways that you can do it. Another way that you can do it is where this open hole is. You can take just a few strands of really, really thin wire and just stick it through one side and kind of twist it up and then solder it and snip it off. And then you can do the same thing on the other side. So you have like a little strand coming through the hole, and then it's soldered to itself basically. And then you have something to solder to. It's not great by any means, but there are some times where you have, if you lose your pad, it just doesn't have a jumper or any way to go. So you would have to use some copper tape or something like that, or makeshift little hole like I was talking about. But this one isn't going to be too bad. This one here with the trace, I just want to get that with a soldering iron and pull it straight real fast. And then we'll come back and I'm going to get you guys a little bit closer. But I don't think this will be a big deal. Alright, I got the chassis hooked up. We're at the moment of truth. It's going to be a little dark until I get it turned on. Here we go. We had a little bit of craziness going on. And then we can't see the remote board as well as I was hoping. Let's just see what we can do real fast here. See if I can figure out what's going on. So we're too big, too wide. May have some pots on there the wrong size. Here we go, height. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. Now let's go with this contrast a little bit. That's not helping us a whole lot, is it? Alright, give me 1 second here. I'm going to turn this off and see if, actually, let me just hit this on the TPG real fast. We got no color. Is that our remote board? You can see color at the top and the bottom. Let's see if it's the neck board. So we do have a little bit of crazy action going on in the tube back here. I'm not sure if that's having anything to do with it at all. Where are these things at? No, I'm trying to turn the wrong part of it. Maybe we're alright. Some color going back in here. Why is this black over here so black? Green. Don't have any kind of yellow. Alright, I am going to take a second and check the wiring on the test pattern generator. So our yellows aren't vibing very well, but we should have a little more definition on that side. Give me 1 second to figure it out. Alright, looks like I got it. Might need to be adjusted, like a little bit of focus, and maybe the colors tweaked a little bit, but it's much better. I'm going to turn the light off and see how it looks like here. It's a little red on that screen. Red can come down just a little bit. Maybe the contrast a little bit. It's awful bright. Let's check some of the other ones now. It looks like it's a little blue to me. Take that blue down a little bit. You can see the convergence is off a little bit. The green is off. I can fix that though. Focus too. Let's try that focus. That might help us on the convergence issues. That's a little crisper there. And that was part of the problem. That looks much better. Still not perfect, but I can make it perfect. That part I'm not worried about. Got all our colors, get the sizing right. It's looking pretty good. Much better than it was 10 minutes ago. Okay, so now I just need to kind of dial it in a little bit, and that's just me being picky, which I'm always like that. I pretty much cannot stop adjusting them. But after that, I want to let it sit on for a while and for a burn-in test. Probably hook a game up to it or something. It's medium res. I'm not sure what I have here that's medium res. But yeah, it's definitely looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll call this one a good one. I know I can get it the rest of the way from here. I don't think there's really anything other than just twisting knobs and deciding which I like better. But thanks for watching on this one, guys. And we got a couple more coming up in the next couple days. And we have the, hang on, I'm going to turn the light on. We have the Miss Pack cocktail that I need to finish up. So let's go ahead and jump out of here real fast and get a quick look at the finished work over here before we sign off. I do have this other 7500 chassis, so we'll probably get that fixed up too while I have parts and got everything on hand. Everything looks good. The one thing I had an issue with was the inside of the neck looked like there was like maybe it was broken and it was sitting across itself, but I guess it wasn't. I guess it was just my imagination. I have no idea. that was worrying me. I just wanted to know and verify and prove to myself that everything was okay, and it's definitely way better than I thought it was. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it adjusted in as much as possible, and then I'll let it burn in for a while and see if I can't find some kind of medium res board to throw on here. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one. So these two right here are going to be ground and 5 volt. So what do we get here? Did I not turn the game on? I didn't turn the game on. I guess that would help. Hang on.
Here it is. A nice little trade. The person I traded got what they wanted. I got what I wanted. And a pretty good deal on it too. Super hang on.
What I want.
That comes later.
Yeah.
Okay. It's on fire.
Whoa.
Lots of smoke.
Well, that's bad.
Yeah, well, thanks for watching.
When you take care of people, people take care of you in this community.
That's the truth.
So everyone, please remember that. Even if we're competitors, we're not enemies.